battling. Gaffo for P1.
Crash Fran's out. It's lap 1.
It's wheel to wheel. They make contact.
Spins over the wall.
Has driven fantastically. He's defended brilliantly and he's kept it clean.
Right, hello everyone, welcome back to the United Racing Championship. We're here for round number 4 here in China. You join myself, Shamrock, here tonight for the Chinese Grand Prix. And what a week it has been. Obviously we had Austria last week. Of course the first sprint race of the season. So we'll just get lap data there, we'll get a track map, and we can leave everything else to how things are. So yeah, welcome in everyone. While we're getting the first couple of cars out on track, we will talk about the driver standings here on our screen. Obviously Hyper leading the way, 16-point lead I believe is the correct gap. Between Hyper and RNC11 in P2 there, and obviously F1 Chicane on P3, missing Austria last week, so it's a close bit of a gap between him, the likes of Richie, Phase Monkey, Joker, Quiet Boy, all within touching distance of that P3 place, and that could be an interesting battle that we might take our keep an eye on tonight in this race. Obviously Jordan Lancer down there in P8, with Max in the second McLaren in P9, losing 3 places last week. Andre, of course, finishing P3 last week in the feature race, brought him up to P10, but he is missing tonight's race. He's filled in by HB Cook, reserving for Ferrari tonight, and then Johnsy Boy in P11 with Fran in P12. He hasn't had the easiest starts to the season, but that P4 in Australia is the most points he has scored this season, with Yari then behind him finishing P5 in the feature race last week, getting his best result of the season. Billy Wiz then in P14 on 6 points, with Lucas Spurs as well in P15, and then Bluefoot in P16, his lowest position I think ever in a drivers' championship table for the URC, followed by Vinny and Fozzies, and then XD Tyler as a reserve, and Rando in P20. Looking then at the constructors, it's McLaren leading the way on 84 points ahead of the Racing Bulls in P2. Mercedes losing a place in the constructor standings in P3, with Kicksauber in P4 behind them. Season 11 constructors champs Haas in P5 on 28 points, followed by Alpine with 25 points in P6, followed by Aston Martin and Williams in 8th, followed by Red Bull and then Ferrari to round out the standings. So let's get to qualifying, and the first driver on a lap I believe is Quiet Boy, so we'll see what he can do. Or is that a Kicksauber on the lap actually? It's probably Rando, I'd say, is it, in the Ferrari? It's a Ferrari, and then it's a Haas, and then ahead of him is a Mercedes, so it might actually be Johnsy Boy as the first driver to set a lap in this session. So we'll take... Marcus Leopold says, imagine being Sham and alone on comms. Thanks, Leo. I'll remember that for whenever you decide to return to commentary duties. I'm really getting a bit of a slating here tonight, guys. But let's see, Johnsy Boy has put in a pretty decent lap so far as Vinny manages to join the session. The second Alpine driver has managed to make his way in. So we'll see what Johnsy Boy can do here as F1 Chicane sets the initial fastest lap at 32.8. So he was the first to complete a lap. But we'll see what Johnsy Boy now can set. He has the Haas behind him. Johnsy Boy will go P2, and the Haas of Joker goes P2 there with a 32.9, followed by Rando setting a 34, and then the Aston Martin as well of Fozzie setting it into 34s on that lap. So there is your top 4 fastest times at the moment, followed by Yari into the 33s. A decent lap there by Yari in the Racing Bulls, at 33.3. Any other laps coming in at the moment? It doesn't look like it. What about Fran as he's about to cross the line? Rian a 32.4 for the Racing Bulls, and Fran a 32.6 for the Red Bull, as Hyper does a 31.9 in the McLaren. And Fozzie's a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Randall, but we don't apply that. You gave me the opportunity, but you would have needed my PlayStation account details, so I wasn't going to hand that over. An interesting first few laps. Face Monkey going P6 there in the Aston. And any more laps coming in as MH reserving for replacing Lucas Spurs in that Kick Sauber tonight, so we'll see if he can get a good first lap in. Max is on the track as well as Billy Wiz. HB Cook as well has raced in the league as a full-time driver before, so we will see what he can do. I think his recent team in this league was Mercedes, at one point Bluefoot on a lap, so we'll see what he can do. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him, but hopefully he can navigate his way through that. Might be able to get a bit of a tow actually off the car in front of him, I don't know. That's his teammate. This is really good work by the Red Bull team. Maybe that's just giving Bluefoot a bit of extra time. And it's crucial to get as much time as you can in your very first quali lap, because it just really sets the confidence high for you through the rest of the session. Bluefoot coming to the line now, one of his favourite tracks, and he goes P4. Really solid. So that tow from Fran has really helped him here in China to put Red Bull in a very solid place so far in the early stages of this session. HB Cook is coming towards the end of his lap, so we'll see what he can do in this session. For Ferrari, of course, down in P20 in the constructors. And HB Cook goes P3 in the Ferrari. That's an unbelievable lap, ahead of both Red Bulls. And a 32.6 for the Ferrari reserve driver. This is a really good performance so far. Will he find more time in that? So far, the only drivers to not set laps are the 2 Alpines and the Williams of Kloppo. But everyone else has set their lap, and obviously Hyper setting the mark to beat. A 31.9, half a second between the McLaren and the Racing Bulls. That is a hell of a banker lap that he has just set on track at the moment. And I wonder, is there any reactions to that first lap? Just make sure anything else isn't coming in about any blocking. Right, Richie is on a lap for the Alpine, so we'll see what he can do. He's got a bit of traffic in front of him, so hopefully that does get out of the way for him. Richie having a fairly decent start to the season in the top 10 of the championship. Alpine sitting currently 6th in the constructors, so they'd want to try and get a bit higher this season, but a good outing in Austria as well for the 2 cars. Hopefully again another decent opportunity coming for them next week in Austin, round number 5, which could set up an interesting sprint race in Belgium for the French team. But interesting to see now what Richie's going to do. He's going to try and get a tow off the back of the Mercedes. Very nearly collides with the back of the Mercedes car, but manages to avoid a collision from occurring. Thank God for him. But let's see where Richie can put his Alpine across the line. And it's going to be P9, or 9th fastest for Richie as he crosses line, ahead of Billy Wiz in his Haas. So it's looking like a fairly good quality session. A couple of people in the 32s, obviously from Rian all the way down to Max down in P8 are in that 32s margin, and then everyone else in the 33s, with 2 people in the 34s. But Fran and Bluefoot, really solid laps there from them to be both in the high ends of the 32s, and probably will be able to find time. And speaking of finding time, we're going to go on board now with Fran Bernoulli, the season 11 drivers champion, the defending champion this season. He's up by half a second, so he's finding time on this lap. Can he get anywhere near the 31s? He probably doesn't think so, but the closest he can get to that McLaren, the better for him when it comes to the race. He does have a 3-second time penalty as well, or a 3-place grid pen to be applied after qualifying for incidents that occurred in Austria last week, and so does the McLaren of Max, and Jake Donaldinho as well has one to be served. But Fran crosses the line, and a 32.1, he does get closer to Hyper, but as the thing stands, he will start P5 in the main race as things stand. Rian's on a lap as well. He's not improving in the middle sector. He's actually down on his time, only by a small margins. But will he be able to find more time in the third sector is the big question. Obviously, 2-time race winner this season. He's won 2 out of 3 races. Hyper will probably say that's to him getting 3-second penalties, but Rian has converged and has capitalized on the chances when made possible, and he crosses the line with a 32.3, only just under a tenth of an improvement there for the Racing Bulls driver. And Hyper has gone even quicker. That gap now is 6 tenths, and the McLaren man improving once again to a 31.5. Hyper really on fire to pick up what would be his second win of the season if he was able to convert pole into a win tonight for McLaren. And the momentum really with this McLaren driver. Bluefoot on a lap as well. He's improving in the second sector, or improved in the first sector. He's got an Aston Martin ahead of him now, so he's just got to hope that this Aston gets out of the way. There's so much traffic for Blue, but a lot of these cars are on a lap, and that Aston Martin ahead of him is on a lap. Fozzies and FaZe Monkey are both on laps, so there's no going to be getting out of the way here for Bluefoot. So he's going to be stuck in this dirty air for the rest of his lap, and he's just going to have to hope that it doesn't impede him too much, as the Ferrari there had to get out of the way. But yeah, this is just really going to hold up Bluefoot a little bit here, even though this Aston Martin is on a lap. There's nothing really Blue can do. He gets to the final corner, and did he gain much time? He does. He goes ahead of the Ferrari of HB Cook, and the Aston Martin there, that was Fozzies on a lap actually. So as they have just come to a bit of a collision, have they, at turn 1, him and Bluefoot? We didn't see that, but Fozzies has gone wide in that right-hander. So I wonder, did we miss something there? Kloppo, P17 at the moment, will peel into the pits. HB Cook is on a lap. He's a 10th up back in sector 2. So we'll just see now if that Ferrari can get back ahead of Bluefoot into the top 4. And what a qualifying this has been so far for HB Cook. He does get ahead, and it's a 32.3. So a really solid improvement there for HB Cook. And it could even be more with that grid pen for Fran. It could be a top 3 start for the Ferrari man. And Ferrari need as much points as they can, given they're missing their main driver, Andre ST. The yellow flag back there for the Alpine of Richie, who was believing to be having impeded Yari in the Racing Bull. So Yari currently down in 14th in the pit lane with a 33.3. So he'll be hoping to improve that lap. There's someone coming out for their final laps. There's a Haas car of Joker. Coming out of the pits there now for the Haas F1 team. Looking pretty good in this session so far, showing pretty promising pace. Billy Wiz looking to hopefully get into the 32s, but it's very close in terms of the 32s. About between P2, which is Fran Bernoulli, and P10 is a gap of 8 tenths. So just very much under a second between P2 and P10. So it does look like Hyper is going to be getting pole position. Because I don't think Fran will find 6 tenths. I don't think Rian's going to find 8 tenths of a second in this final lap. But you know, the race isn't won by qualifying, or points aren't scored in qualifying. But it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. So let me know, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat how you have found this qualifying so far. Are you surprised to see how this has played out? Are you a bit shocked? Is there anything that has shocked you so far in this qualifying session in terms of the performances from the individual drivers? Who has stood out to you in this qualifying session, and who has disappointed you in this qualifying session? We want to obviously get your thoughts as much as we can. But so far, a very interesting session as Kloppo gets a 5-place grid penalty there. Of course, that's not going to be applied because there is going to be a reset for the main race. So I'll tell you the grid penalties that are in place via the review outcome. So Fran has 3 places, Max has 3 places. Dead because Sham is commentating. Okay, thanks Leo, you can stop being a knob now. Jake Donaldinho 3 places as well, so where he is currently is 16th, he'll start 19th as things stand. Max will start 13th as things stand, and Fran is set to start P5, so Bluefoot will move up a place, and maybe there will be a chance for Red Bull to work together, but it all depends. Oh, was Bluefoot really did he have to get out of the way of Joker there? I think he did. He's still 3 tenths off from sector 2, but he might have felt there was an impeding by the Red Bull. We just saw that, really. That was quite interesting. In the last moments of qualifying, Joker goes up to P5, separating Bluefoot there from a chance to start further ahead. But has that kind of upset Bluefoot's momentum here? It doesn't look like it has, but I'm sure Joker was a little bit annoyed with that because his teammate was involved in that as well down the back straight, and there's a lot of traffic as these last few laps try to get done. But we'll see what Bluefoot does here. He's up slightly in the first sector as Johnsy Boy retires from the session. We were not sure why, but every car is out on track trying to improve their place. Johnsy Boy though has retired, so he will start possibly further back than 13th, because everyone might just improve, but it looks like it's getting a bit doom and gloom in terms of those clouds. And will everyone be able to set a lap? We'll just have to find out. Bluefoot a 10th up in the second sector, so how much can he find in the third sector? It's going to be really interesting now for the Irish driver to see just how much momentum he can find in these final moments on track. Can he get a really good qualifying place here on a track that he just so much enjoys to race on? And how much time has he found? F1 chicane won't improve. Yari won't get into the top 10, although he will because of Max's grid pen. But Bluefoot comes across the line. Where's it going to be for the Red Bull driver? 32.5. He found just less, way much less than a 10th improvement. He stays P6. As Quiet Boy stays in P7, FaZe Monkey will stay P8. Rian and Fran can't find an improvement on their time. What about HB Cook? Rando won't be able to find an improvement. He'll stay in 18th. So not the best of qualifying from him. HB Cook, can he improve Can he jump maybe Rian or Fran at the end of qualifying? It'd be a big ask of him to do that, but as he comes across the line, is it going to be... No, he stays. He lost some time in the third sector and goes fourth fastest. Joker will be P5. He'll start higher. No other improvements. Billy Wiz not able to get inside the top 10. Richie, a very disappointing qualifying from his end, I would say. And Kloppo not improving either. So that will be qualifying, folks, as he retires on track. And there is our grid. Post with penalties obviously yet to be applied, but wow. What a qualifying. So we have Hyper down to Rando. So Hyper on pole. Very solid race from him. And then from Rando down to Jake Donaldinho. Alright folks, that wraps up qualifying. We'll be back for the main race once the lobby is reset and everything. And welcome back, everyone. The grid has been set. Apologies for the delay there in setting up the lobby. We did start a couple of minutes past 8 tonight as well, so things have run a little bit past schedule, but we are set and we are ready to go here in China. Of course, we did have 3 grid penalties to address for 3 drivers. So that obviously had to be taken into account as well as the qualifying results. So they do add a bit of timing to it, and of course, getting people into the lobby as well is always an issue. So yeah, we are all set to go. As Leo says, 20-minute grid setup. Well, Leo, that's why you're usually the host, because you get things done much faster than me. And that's just a fact. I don't take any shame in that. You know, I don't want to stress myself out, so I just try and go at a pace, and I try and keep things running smoothly. So, but yeah, it's a clear day here in China for this race. Get your predictions in. I'm going to say Hyper for the win, just given his quality pace. But I think the battle for the podium should be really interesting. Well, Leo, that's an obvious. Hang on, Fran's calling me. What, no one can choose their setups? Alright, okay. Okay, okay. Back out then. Okay, okay, okay. And Klappo's just left. He hasn't retired. Oh man, this game is fucking painful. Alright, take two. We are back and ready to go for the main race after, well, the last lobby was bugged, so yeah, that's ideal. Anyway, we're getting to hopefully get to go racing now. So let's see how this plays out. I'm still going to go with Hyper for the win. There'll be no formation lap, so drivers will not have the chance to get their tires up to temperature. We're going straight into the racing action and straight into the race because we are well behind on schedule. So I do apologize for that. But unfortunately, there's only so much you can do when a game refuses to work your way. Obviously, other drivers having issues to connect to the EA servers. It's just issue after issue. I hope there's no issues with people choosing their setups this time, because I don't know how many times we can reset a lobby before people start choosing just to give it up for the night, you know, call it quits. Oh, Leo is still stuck up on that turn 5 overtake that I missed. I mean, boo-hoo. I really couldn't care. There we go. There's the timer. We're getting ready to go racing. We're going to move the arrow out of the frame, because that will be distracting. Alrighty, here we go to 5 red lights in China. And the lights are out and away we go. Hyper gets a good launch off the line. That's expected from his pace in qualifying. Into turn 1 we go. Hyper leads. HP Cook might try and go around the outside of the Racing Bulls, with Joker having a look as well in the Haas. And HP Cook to the inside of that Racing Bull now. Can he get ahead as Hyper pulls away in the first few laps? Framberly, 2 Red Bulls getting away quite well as well. Quiet Boy and the Kick Sauber of F1 chicane, they're battling through turn number 5, and it looks like Quiet Boy gets the better exit over the Kick Sauber. Billy Wiz as well having a solid race start, with FaZe Monkey and Richie going side by side through that left hand chicane for that final points spot. Kloppo losing 2 places on the opening lap of this race. But back to the leaders. Rian staying ahead of HP Cook for now, but HP Cook looking at an opportunity to try and get by, as well as Joker in the Haas. The 2 Red Bulls still maintaining positions there in P5 and P6, looking to potentially work together. Hyper on this first lap going to try and break the toe immediately as he pulls to the right hand side of the track. HP Cook thinking the same thing to break that toe, but it hasn't really helped him that much, and it's given Joker a bit of an opportunity to sneak by. These 2 on the medium compound tyres, and Joker looking to get by the Ferrari driver, but not on this occasion on lap 1. Rian as well on the hards, we've just seen him there, and Hyper I think is on the hard tyres as well, as same as the 2 Red Bulls it looks like. Richie and FaZe Monkey battling once again for P10, and FaZe Monkey having to react there, and he gets past, but look at that, MH might have a look on the inside of the Aston Martin into turn 1. Richie going to lose another place to FaZe Monkey, who drops further down the order as we begin lap 2. And Vinny might be having a look, as well as Max, who picked up a time penalty. Kloppo and Yari in the pits. Early days in this race. Johnsy Boy trying to make up places in the early stages of this race as well. He's going to get up the inside, maybe try it on Richie as well, but that was a late move. can't get the move stuck. As there's a Mercedes off in the back, it's Jake Donaldinho who drops to P18. Fozzie's up the inside of Rando up into P16. He's gained 4 places since the start of this race. Going back to HB Cook here in the Ferrari. Still keeping in touch with Rian here in the Racing Bulls up ahead of him. And it's been a pretty good getaway for many drivers in this race. Hyper once again trying just to break the toe in this race as HB Cook now will get a bit of DRS, and Rian has it as well, so Hyper not doing much to break the toe, but so far he's been able to get a pretty nice start in this race. Rian getting a bit of a moment on the rear of the car. They're struggling to get the car's tyres up to temperature, and playing the long game of course on the hards in this race. Hyper goes faster, a lot of drivers going faster. Joker setting the fastest lap there, and the McLaren really using the tactics there of breaking the toe as much as you can, trying to give Rian as little of an advantage as possible down the main straight. Hyper not being able to pull away just as yet so far, as there we have our first retirement. Jake and Richie pulling into the pits for Alpine and Mercedes. An F1 chicane retires in the pits as well, so 3 drivers retiring on lap 2 of at the end of lap 2 of this race, and we're down to 17. I wonder what's gone on there. It's really a shame to see that happening, unfortunately. And I'm sure we'll get some comment. Have yellow wing damage and it doesn't change it. So Richie tried to change his front wing and the game didn't fix it. So that's the reason why, as to he disconnected. We don't know what happened to F1 chicane, but I'm sure we'll find out. As now HB Cook still trying to stick with that Racing Bull. Joker might be able to get by. Everyone taking different lines in this race to try and get by, as Bluefoot and Fran, the 2 Red Bulls going at it in China, things you love to see. And are we going to see the Red Bulls switching places here? And Bluefoot just tucks back in behind his teammate, so a little bit of a communication there between the Red Bull drivers, but they managed to keep a healthy gap between the likes of Quiet Boy there behind in P7, and Johnsy Boy and FaZe Monkey battling hard there, but Joker and HB Cook changing position for the final podium place in this race, and HB Cook just stays ahead in this race. That battle between P3 will have to keep tabs on it, as MH gets past WTech Vinny for P11 in the kick Sauber, so he is the last Sauber on the track. And there's a spin! Oh my god, there's a spin for Joker, and that is not ideal. And he spun again! He tried to put the throttle down, and he's tumbling down the order into P12, 13, 14 now for Joker, and that is not what you want to see in this race for Joker, who has such good pace to offer in the race. And he's just gone away just like that. Fran now pulling a little bit away from Blue, but he's going to hopefully try and keep him in DRS as well, and want to maybe just drag him along. But look at the gap between him and HB Cook ahead. Now obviously with Joker spinning, Fran has lost his DRS. So yeah, not ideal for the Haas in front of him to spin, but nevertheless, Fran is getting, oh, Blue nearly going into the back of his teammate. And can you imagine if a collision had occurred there, as Kloppo picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, something very easily done around parts of this track. But looking at the front again, Rian not able to get closer, as there's a Haas off again. Is that Joker once again? It is, and I expect he's going to stay out. He's continuing on in this race, but just a low after low for the Haas in what has been a decent qualifying for him as well. But yeah, so far Hyper maintaining the race lead, not pulling away though, as many would expect him to do. But certainly a massive gap out in front in terms of the top 5 here. A good result for Red Bull so far. P4 and P5, looking at 22 points provisionally gained in the Constructors' Championship for the Red Bull team, so they definitely need to bounce back. Can you make sure that China is never on the calendar for the rest of URC history? It's the worst track of all time. Well, Richie, it is a reason why China hasn't been on the calendar in so long. I think, and it's because of the track and how it hasn't really been a fan favourite, as Hyper now pulls out on a second to Rian behind. But Rian gets back into that DRS gap, so he has to use a little bit of battery in order to do so. HB Cook staying with the pack as well, so he's doing very well, I have to say, as Vinny gets past FaZe Monkey. Is FaZe Monkey going to give this up? No, he's going to try and commit to the inside, battling for P9 here, battling for the final for 2 points, but he just fails to take that position back, and Vinny moves up into P9. It's been a really solid race for the Alpine driver here, of course, the only Alpine on track after we lost Richie early doors in the session. So Alpine trying to pick up as much points as they can, and Vinny doing a really solid job. Next up, Johnsy Boy, who's recovered pretty well in this race. He started 15th, he's now 8th, so he's had a really solid start to this race. And Joker in the back there is looking to close up on Rando in 14th, who hasn't gained a position since the start of this race. So really interesting, and it makes you question his race pace, really. But other than that, not much overtakes happening at the moment. Feels like T1 is a minute and the turn before the big straight feels like 45 seconds. Track battle then is between Max and Fozzie's at the moment for P11. Max with a 3-second time penalty. Fozzie's doing really well at the moment, looking at potentially P11 here to try and get up to the points. So he's had a really good drive so far. Bluefoot though, there is a change in the Red Bull's order, as Aston Martin goes wide as FaZe Monkey, who has gone wide. And he's outside the points now, and a 10-second track limit penalty. That's got to be harsh. That probably shouldn't have been given, because he didn't gain anything from going wide. That is a really harsh penalty, and he'll probably be submitting that to the stewards room after the race. No changes at the front, but Bluefoot getting past his teammate now. So is this Fran saying to Blue, go ahead, try and lower the gap to the guys in front? If you can't, we'll swap back the positions. I think there's a real chance of the two Red Bulls here maybe just working together. FaZe Monkey pulls into the pits for, well, I think he's going to serve that 10 seconds. So did they change that wing? I don't think Aston Martin changed that wing. It doesn't look like he changed his wing, and he's retired on the exit of the pit lane because they haven't changed that wing. So that's FaZe Monkey gone from this race, and it's all down to Fozzie's now to pick up points for the Aston Martin team, and it's a difficult task for him to do. We've lost 4 in 7 laps, so it's been a really tough race for those drivers who have DNF'd, as you can see at the bottom of your screens. Meanwhile, Billy Wiz is on the back of Quiet Boy, trying to sneak his way into that top 6, but it's not going to come yet. He had to miss, he had to react there, as he nearly went into the back of the Williams, but he's managed to avoid him just about. And now he's got to try and go again, Billy Wiz, in the Haas, as Hyper and Rian battling into turn 1. Rian trying to get the move done. We didn't see the attempt of overtake, but we're seeing it side by side, and the Racing Bulls gets up into the lead, into P1, as Hyper gets a moment on the rear. So does Rian, both struggling on the hard compound tyres. HB Cook might be looking at this thinking, have I got a window of opportunity? Maybe he does have an opportunity to disrupt the top 2 here. This will be really interesting to see how this battle unfolds. These two potentially the title contenders for the season, and Fran might be looking to get past his teammate once again, and maybe that's what we're talking about as well for Red Bull in terms of the Drivers' Championship. You know, the Drivers' Champion is Fran, of course, Is he going to look at maybe asking Blue to go past, or is he just going to let Blue drag him along? And maybe that's what they're going with. We'll have to see how that plays out in the rest of this race. And now we're looking at if Hyper can get back past Rian on this back straight. Well, he probably will, as he's got a good bit of battery to use. He hasn't had to deploy it that much this race, but now you can see he's deploying it there. As he looks to get past Rian. Will we see a move done here? And it doesn't look like he thinks about it as he cuts that limit there at the final corner. Probably got a warning for that, I would imagine. As Rian goes very wide there, exceeding the track limits. That will open the door now to Hyper using the eSport line as we approach turn 1, and not going to get the move done here. Hyper might have a look up the inside if he can just... Rian trying to hold on to P1 here. Hyper might go for a little bit of a switchback. Not going to get it done here, but look at the exit there. Hyper really struggling on the exit out of that corner. But Rian as well struggling the exact same as we're on lap 9 of this race. Fozzie's now into the points, battling MH through sector 1. We can see it in on our mini track map, and it looks like MH does come out better at the moment. Fozzie's keeping in touch with that battle as well. Rando and Max into the pits for their first pit stop of the race. HB Cook just comfortable really to sit here in P3. If an opportunity comes for him, he might be able to get by, but for now he's just going to have to sit behind and wait till one of these two make a mistake, and I think he's okay with doing that. What about the two Red Bulls? Are we going to see a position change? No, Fran is a bit further back from his teammate on this occasion. He's 9/10 behind his teammate, and Hyper does get past. And Rian looking to try and go for a switch back there, but he will have more battery saved than the McLaren. And he's got a real opportunity in this race. Rian using the exact same line as Hyper, so really interesting to see that, but he moves back towards the regular racing line, and he's not going to get the move done here, so he's just going to have to pick his moments. Pick that moment where Hyper might just slip up, because he's done it a few times this season. But Hyper, we know he's a capable race winner, and he's now kept the lead, so he made the move done there, and fair play to him on doing so. No other moves down the order though. Billy Wiz has got past Quiet Boy. We didn't see that move occurring, unfortunately. People will say shock horror, Sham doesn't capture an overtake, but Billy Wiz does get past the Williams there and up into the top 6, so really solid driving here from Billy Wiz. Of course, being the number 2 Haas driver, he has really done well. Despite a difficult qualifying, he has managed to find himself in the top 6. Johnsy Boy and Vinny still battling it out for P8, and MH then a big gap between him and the likes of the next car ahead, but Joker has managed to recover actually, getting through the field and back up to P11. He'll be looking at trying to get past the Sauber now into the last place and the last points position. But we go back to Hyper here, and Rian not able to get the move done, and HB Cook was actually pretty close there on the back end of those two, so he was probably sniffing an opportunity but not able to get it done. And Rian just chilling in behind the McLaren, but maybe an opportunity here into turn 1, and just not going to see the move done again. So it's a DRS train at the moment, and you just wonder when Hyper or when HB Cook is going to decide to make a pit stop, because obviously he is on the quicker tyre. They will fall off quicker than the hard tyres, and obviously a lot of this track is very slippery, as you can see. A lot of drivers struggling to get traction points on track at the moment. And McLaren chasing down what would be, if we go to the all-time stats, McLaren chasing their 6th win here today. Of course, they achieved their 5th win in Spain in the 100th Grand Prix. This is Grand Prix 102 here in China. And Hyper trying to break that toll once again, but look at this, Rian has followed him, and we might see a position change for the lead once again, and Rian does get ahead on this point of asking, and Hyper tries to get back past him, but not going to happen on this occasion. Billy Whiz and Quiet Boy as well. And the Williams does get by, but they're going to try and go side by side. Billy Whiz backs out, thinks better of it, and drops to P7. Great move there from Quiet Boy, putting his Williams into P6 in this race. And it's Rando at the back of the field here in P16, trying to catch up to the likes of Max and Kloppo for what will be P14. And he's having a bit of a quiet race at the moment. Hyper losing a bit of time there. Did he get on the grass? He might have, because he's lost time to the Racing Bulls ahead. HB Cook though losing a lot of time as well, and Joker just got past MH there into P10, so back up into the points for the Haas driver. So a solid recovery despite a spin earlier on in the race. So an eventful 12 laps so far. We've had the leadership change in this race quite a few times between Rian and Hyper, really looking like contenders for the win, and HB Cook, because he had an issue because he's lost so much time. This might just be tire deg or tire wear falling off and falling away from him. This will allow probably Fran and Bluefoot to try and catch that Ferrari ahead now. Hyper not able to get past the Racing Bulls on this occasion, as Max gets past Fozzie's, Rando gets past Kloppo for P15, relegating Kloppo to last place. Yeah, HB Cook is doing a fantastic job, Leo, and he comes into the pits. He's had enough on the medium tyres, so obviously a few other medium runners in this race. Is that the furthest they can go, as Hyper and Rian battling once again, and Rian keeping the inside line here and just gets ahead of the McLaren once again. There's a yellow flag back there in sector 3, so just wondering what happened. Hyper going to go to the inside of the Racing Bull here, not going to get the move done. Rian holding his line perfectly and stays ahead in P1. This is unbelievable battling here from the two drivers, the two Irish drivers battling it out. And there's an Aston Martin going really slow in the final sector. That is Fozzie's. So I don't know if he has an issue or not, but yeah, he's struggling with something as Max gets past Yari. Yari into the pits again. So Yari hasn't been on his new tyres that long, but has he picked up damage? I think he has. He's been really unfortunate many times this season. And I'm not really sure what the issues are because of that. As to why Yari struggles so much, because he does so well in other leagues. But here we go, Hyper once again. Oh shit, I've no water left. As Fozzie's retires in the pit, so now we're down to 15. We've lost 5 in this race, and that's both Aston Martins out of the race. So a really, really difficult weekend, one to forget about for the Aston Martin pairing, as Fran comes into the pits for Red Bull, which means his teammate now on his own in P3 there on the hard runner. So what's Fran going to pit onto actually? Probably what looks to be a set of mediums, is it? Interesting strategy call there for Fran. No, sim damage isn't on. If sim damage was on, Richie, you would have lost your wheel. If I'm honest. Reconnection successful. Interesting. OBS disconnected there for a second. never seen that happen before. Yeah, he does need to manage those tyres. I think even Hyper is struggling on the hard tyres right now. In fairness, he's not that close to Reen anymore, and I think Reen is struggling a little bit as well. So I'd say, you know, Quiet Boy, I think he's gaining a little bit now to Bluefoot as well. He's catching him, as you can see, Billy Wiz as well. So certainly tyre management is coming into this. And it's certainly a big factor to consider in this stage of the race. The only battle really is Rando and Joker at the moment, or I suppose Joker and Max for P11. And Joker's going to get by the McLaren there, who's trying to use the esports line on a defense, but it's not going to work. Joker's going to breeze by and up into P11 for the Haas driver. Now Hyper losing a second. Hyper nearly going for a spin there, so the tyres really not working in Hyper's favour at this stage, as Kloppo gets 10 seconds for being in the pit lane, and I think that could be his race done and dusted if there was any doubts. Those doubts are surely now in place, and he's retired, so we're down to 14. So China really not being enjoyed by some of these drivers here today, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame, as Vinny gets past Johnsy Boy once again, up into P6 now for the Alpine driver. Still, if we look at the tyres, you can see it there. Hyper comes into the pits all the way down to HB Cook on the fresh tyres there. And the question is, where does he come out now on his fresh hards? If he gets out ahead of Hyper, that's an unbelievable stop. Wow, that is unbelievable by HB Cook. And Fran as well is going to just come out close to who was title rival last season. So this is really interesting now, because the likes of, you know, Johnsy Boy, Vinny, Quiet Boy, Rian, they all still have to pit. So the undercut has actually worked massively in HB Cook's favour, because he's provisionally P2 now. And if he can extract more pace from his car, he might just be able to get ahead of Rian. Rian's probably looking at this now and thinking, when do I box? But it's going to be really interesting to see now how his tyres play out for him. So let's just see, as Rian comes around the final corner here, are we going to see a pit stop from him? Vinny and Johnsy Boy battling for a podium place at the moment, but of course they are still to pit. There is HB Cook provisionally on for P2 here. Rian does stay out. Yellow flag. We are not seeing why, because it's Bluefoot. It was Bluefoot in the third sector had a mistake there, and that's cost him massive momentum in this race. As Johnsy Boy pits, sending HB Cook now up into the top 4. Rian has stayed out in this race, and Hyper is trying to just pull away from Fran, and it looks like he's doing so. And Johnsy Boy, where will he come out now? He won't come out ahead of Bluefoot, but Bluefoot has lost a lot of time himself there in terms of that mistake in Sector 3, so really unfortunate for him. MH will come into the pits as well to make another stop for himself in this race, and that sends Max up into P11 in this race. So the question is, when does Rian and Quiet Boy and Vinny decide to pit? Vinny should pit this lap. can see Rian is into the pits. He has made the call. Let's see now, does he get out ahead of Hyper? It's very important that he does. Quiet Boy staying out as well, making the tyres last as long as possible. HB Cook, is he going to overtake? He is. HB Cook has literally undercut both the McLaren and the Racing Bull. Hyper has undercut Rian, and so has Fran. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. HB Cook is now the provisional race leader as we approach the second stint of this race. What a strategy call from the Ferrari driver, but the question is, Hyper is literally catching him so much, and Rian has a car in between him and Hyper. This is going to get really interesting as the final laps come into play here, as Max pits and Yari gets ahead of him up into P12. Rando is outside, just in P11, outside the points now. We can expect Quiet Boy to box this lap. HB cooking, in fact he is, but Hyper going to have DRS now this lap, I would imagine. He does. And it's only probably a matter of time that Hyper's going to get HB Cook on the next straight. And of course he's on the medium tyre, so I did forget that HB Cook is on the hard tyres and Hyper's on the medium, so the pace difference is going to be there as Rian wastes no time getting past the Red Bull of Fran Bernoulli and up into P4 and back up into P3. He's got to make these medium tyres work as much as he can, and he needs HB Cook actually to hold up the McLaren as much as he can, because Hyper, we were expecting an overtake on the main straight, but it didn't happen. 4.3 seconds now is the gap between Rian and Hyper. So it's a matter of where and when for Hyper here. And look at the pace difference that he has on the Ferrari, and just in terms of the tyres, it's absolutely insane. But HB Cook not giving this one up. He doesn't have to. He's like, hey, I'm reserving for a team that needs help, and I'm on position here for a win. So he's going to fight that. He's going to defend it. And I'm really impressed with HB Cook's pace. He's certainly on for a podium here if he can't get the win. But Hyper will probably get the move done here. He's closer now on this lap. Doesn't really need to use much battery, and he just breezes by without even using DRS. And Hyper gets the move done. A little bit of a swing of the car as he waves goodbye to the Ferrari behind him. And he takes back P1 in this race. Now, can Rian reduce the gap? The gap 2.9, and Fran has kind of fallen away in this race. Bluefoot has recovered into P6 there, and he's trying to chase down as Fran pits again. Fran has decided to pit again. He hasn't been on those tyres very long as he comes onto the hards. What an interesting call by Fran. As he comes out ahead of Joker there in P9. And that puts Billy Wiz up into P4. Wow. HB Cook as well, staying in the DRS of Hyper, which is massive for him if he wants to get this P2. But he's just fallen out of it there as MH retires in the pits. So not a great showing for Kick Sauber today as well, unfortunately. Really not the track, I think, for some of these people. FaZe Monkey trying to announce his retirement, but we're not going to let that happen. Kloppo's retiring. He's trying to go down to a reserve. Bit of a shame. I think a few reserves are looking for seats anyway at the moment. Kloppo sharing his discontent with the game, so I'm not really sure what happened to him, but I'm sure we'll find out. Anyway, Rian is cutting down the gap to the leaders. As you can see, there he is. As Max retires as well in the pit, so we have lost 8 in this race. Thinking about a move there, but just not able to get it done. But look how close he is to the McLaren. As Quiet Boy gets past Bluefoot there. Bluefoot going to try and fight this maybe. Just not alongside him though. Down now into P6 after that overtake, and Hyper goes past his retired teammate. For a second there we thought that was Hyper off the track. I was getting a bit scared. Yeah, Richie, I hear you, man. I hear you. Look, it's a learning curve, obviously. DRS as well of the 2 leaders. This is going to be a really interesting final couple of laps here, but he has to get past HB Cook in that Ferrari. Hi Katie, how's it going? Welcome in. I don't think we've seen you in the chat before. Hopefully you're here to cheer on Callum, who's in P6 at the moment. Trying to get up into the top 5. Rian getting past HB Cook up the inside there. Might be looking at Hyper, who's just blocking that inside line. HB Cook trying to defend his position, but on the hard tyres he's at a massive disadvantage, and Rian gets ahead, and now these two are back to fight for P1 again with 5 laps to go in this race. That's good that you watch. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate that. He's doing well. He's doing very well there in P6. He was definitely on for P5, but he had a mistake earlier on in the race, so he kind of lost a bit of momentum, but he's recovering. He's having a decent race, as things are, as Yari gets past Randall there up into turn 1 for P11, so these two battling for pride and honour really. No points on offer for these places, but I guess hopefully Randall's having some fun with this battle. Quiet Boy trying to lower that gap to Billy Wiz in P4, and he's just outside the DRS window. He's doing well in P6, but he should be P7. He is Mr. 7. He is Mr. P7, but he's defying the odds. As we have to go back to leaders. Rian got ahead of Hyper. Oh, I missed it again, for God's sake. But as you can see, Hyper trying to come back at Rian here. Oh, a bit of a slide there for Rian. Gave Hyper a bit of an opportunity. Hyper struggling on his rears now as well. Might give HB Cook an opportunity, but he's just sitting there in P3 waiting on one of these two to make a mistake. How he'd love to finish P2, potentially in a P1 on his reserve duties, but it's just not going to happen because these two drivers know what's at stake. A victory, bit of gains in the championship. Think Sham, lads, you're so supportive. You really are the most supportive community ever. Genuinely. You know, words hurt, by the way. Words hurt. I'm enjoying myself. As Rando comes into the pits now, I don't know what for. Haas going slow there, that's Joker. Yep. That's Quiet Boy. And Billy Wiz there jousting for position, but Quiet Boy does get past the Haas car. But back to the leaders, is there any change? No, Hyper still behind behind the Racing Bulls. And as Leo says that the tyres on that Ferrari are going to start to cook. And it looks like they are, because he's 1.2 seconds now behind the two of them. And I think HB Cook now just needs to try and hold on to this podium. Don't push the tyres any more than they need to. Hold on for these final couple of laps. As much as you can, try and make them last. Because you're guaranteed a P3 and in this stage of affairs. And Rian going for win number 15. This would be 2 wins in a row if Rian converts this, but Hyper keeping him at bay. He's not staying outside the DRS. I mean, a collision certainly would open the door, but he's about 2 seconds behind them, so it's still on the cards for him. But he needs a miracle to happen, as Hyper has a moment on the exit of the last corner. It's going to cost him a bit of time, but he has the DRS to try and lessen the damage done on that exit. As we enter lap 26 now, 2 laps to go here in China. C11 holding the McLaren at bay. That's Johnsy Boy and Vinny battling for position. Vinny getting back ahead at turn 1 here in the Alpine, up into P7. Johnsy Boy wasn't able to get the move done there, but he's trying to get Mercedes some decent points here. And they're battling for what is 6 points. They've got Fran behind them, so could Fran upset this battle in the final couple of laps? He's got his teammate ahead of him in P6 as well. In a kind of a quiet world at the moment for Bluefoot, trying to hold on to this P6 and bring it home for Red Bull. They need as much points as they possibly can get. On this part of the race, not able to get past. How does Randall get 3 seconds with no one in front of him? I'll never understand. But Hyper there just trying to do whatever he can to get close to the Racing Bulls. HB Cook now 3 seconds behind as we start lap 27 of this race. And Hyper, both drivers here using the eSport line. Hyper just can't get close to Rian at the moment as things are. As you can see, both drivers having a bit of a step on the rear of their cars there as we exit that corner. Rando has had a moment, has he? Yeah, he's all over the track here in Sector 2. But he's managed to get underway once again. He's on the soft tyres. So probably trying to go for the fastest lap. I hope he knows there's no point for the fastest lap in this league. So it's kind of pointless going onto the soft tyres. Oh, Hyper! Jesus! Oh my god. Big moment there for Hyper. He is really struggling with his tyres. We almost saw a Hyper bottle once again. And here we go, another opportunity maybe for Hyper to get by. Does Rian have much battery? He does. He has the battery to defend. And he's got more ERS than Hyper does as Fran gets past Johnsy Boy for P8. Really struggling with his medium tyres. He's not able to get traction on them, as much traction as Rian can get anyway. And as we begin the final lap, Rian is starting this lap now to get race win number 15. And there's multiple changes. Bluefoot and Vinny battling hard there for P6. And Vinny might just get ahead in the final corner. He does. He does get ahead. What a move for Vinny. As we approach the final stages of this race, the Alpine, who started outside the top 10, is on to finish inside the top 6. And Fran is approaching his teammate there in P7. Bluefoot back in Mr. 7. Mr. 7 back at it again. And Hyper now just 9/10 behind the Racing Bulls. But it doesn't look... Why my arrow's back on the screen? I take that off. He's almost a second now. Has this gone away from, as Rando's off the track in Sector 3? It really hasn't been the smoothest of races. Hyper's not going to have DRS on the Racing Bull. I think Rian has done enough to potentially seal race win number 15 in the URC. And look at him breaking the toe here as much as he can. He's already celebrating as Fran gets past Bluefoot to relegate him to P8. And maybe this is it. And Rian rounds the final corner to win the Chinese Grand Prix, stealing the race win from Hyper, who goes wide at the final corner, and Hyper finishes P2. HB Cook, a massive podium for Ferrari on his re-debut, but as a reserve, what a performance from HB Cook. Quiet Boy P4 for Williams. That's a fantastic result from Quiet Boy. Billy Wiz, a huge P5 there for Haas, and a big result for him. And Vinny recovering to 6th with both Red Bulls, and Fran returning the position to Bluefoot there at the very end. P7 and P8 for them, with Johnsy Boy P9. Joker will be looking to take the final points place in this race as he crosses the line of P10. Yari then is doing his own little celebratory moments after his team has won a Grand Prix yet again. What a race, and what a race, ladies and gentlemen, that has been. Rian C11 picking up his second win in a row, and race win number 15 in the all-time race winners, again adding to his tally. Hyper back on the podium once again, P2 again, and HB Cook, well done to him to get his Ferrari on the podium, and a full-time seat may have opened up for him as well, so we will probably hopefully see him on the grid more this season. A fantastic result for Quiet Boy to get into the top 5, as well as Billy Wiz in the top 5 as well for Haas. A solid drive from both Haas cars, and Johnsy Boy as well to pick up points for the Mercedes team. But there you have it, that's your top 10, with Rando and Yari outside of it. you have it, folks. Rian once again on the top step. 3 race wins from 4 this season. That is an unbelievable start to his return this season for Rian C11. Klopper has confirmed his retirement. He's had enough of this season. So there you have it then. There is your race results. Rian taking the race victory with Hyper in P2. HB Cook P3, Quiet Boy P4, Billy Wiz P5, Vinny taking in P6 from P19. He is your driver of the day ahead of Bluefoot and Fran. Johnsy Boy P9, Joker in P4, and then we have Yari and Rando P11 and P12. Our retirements then from Max, MH, Kloppo, Fozzie, Phase Monkey, F1 Chicane, Richie, and Jake Donaldinho, and losing both the Scotsmen in this race. And we'll be back for the podium interviews as well, if anyone would like them. Rian, Hyper. We'll just give him the driver role to make sure he can access things. I'm sure reserves can join the VC anyway, but if they can't, I'll just give them that role if they're not available. He's going to come in now. Mega job from. I'm just congratulating Vinny. We'll be back for interviews then, guys. Just hold tight. Alrighty everyone, welcome back to the stream here for the post-race interviews after the Chinese Grand Prix. Well, this was certainly, I think, not only for the stream but for the driver, a shock appearance on the podium. HB Cook is back in URC and he's back on the podium. How are we doing?
Yes, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I was very impressed with your drive.
Yeah, that was definitely a race that surprised me. Literally, I got told about 5:45 hour racing, so no practice, no nothing. Just need to set up and thought, why not? We'll go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, obviously
Yeah.
how did you find qualifying?
I didn't really know, obviously, because I speak to Joker and obviously I asked him, like, oh, who's this guy? Is he quit? Like, what should I really expect? So I didn't really have any expectations going in, but to be honest, the first lap where I think I went third, or like it weren't a good lap, but I'm like, oh, wait, I'm third. What's going off here? So you know, take the positives, and I knew I weren't probably as quick as hyper as everyone saw.
Yeah.
So I knew maybe P2 was on the cards, but I bottled final sector, so.
And obviously with the race as well, obviously you moved up a bit due to Fran's grid penalty, but you were able to keep up with the likes of Hyper and Rian as well in the first stint and even the second stint. But your decision to pit before them actually paid off. Like, were you surprised by that as well when you came out in a net P1?
No, I think obviously in other league races, I know the undercut is strong on this game at most tracks, so it was always a case of, you know, doing the opposite strategy to people, see if we could catch a few out, and we did. And then when I looked in and I saw Hyper's closing, it's like, right, okay, we'll let him go nick his DRS and hopefully get him later on. But I just see Hyper and Rian just decided to drive off away from it. But if you said Henry did P3 at the end of this, about an hour ago, I would snap your hand off.
Well, I think that's the joys of it, you know. You mean there's the surprise in it and everything makes it a little bit better. But obviously, in the final few laps there, you were about 3 seconds behind, at one point. So did you kind of feel you're just gonna try and protect the P3, not make any mistakes, and just bring it home?
Yeah. Obviously, I was praying that Hyper and Rian decided to do a Hamilton Rosberg at Spain and hit each other, but they never did. So the plan was always just stick with P3. The tyres were dying off it, and also weren't quick enough for the top two. So it would just bring the car on in one piece, take the podium, and go and celebrate afterwards.
Absolutely. Well, it's a good start as well as to come into the league and reserve and then get a podium on debut. It certainly, I think, sends a bit of a message as well across to the other drivers, you know, that you're racing against full-time drivers, that you're here. You know, you weren't willing to get out of the way for Hyper. Like, you know, some people have done that in races where they've just gotten out of the way. You were not willing to do that. You were willing to fight for your position. So it's good to see that from yourself. Obviously, we have Cota next week. So I don't know if you're up for that, up for reserving in that if a spot comes available. But what do you think of Cota?
I'm always up for reserving. Cota, I did a race there last week, and I pretty much jumped from P17 to P8. So it's a track I haven't done at. I was on pace, so hopefully I can race. Obviously I'm available that day, so hopefully the spot opens up, and then it'll be just give it my all and see where we end up that week.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. But look, I suppose see what happens over the next few days in terms of a seat maybe opening up for you. But yeah, well done tonight, man. Genuinely fantastic result for yourself. Keep going at it. If a space comes free, definitely take it. But you know, this is a good starting point for yourself this season. A podium, can't get any better than that. Well done.
Well, hopefully there's a win involved. That'll be better than a podium.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, look, well done tonight, and thanks for coming in and reserving. I appreciate it. So enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy your weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Alright, so that was HB Cook. Hyper was in the waiting room there for a little bit, but he has disconnected. Fran has just messaged me saying, is there a punditry role for Washed Up Champions mate P4, P11, P8? So Fran, obviously stating that he struggled this race, and he definitely did. I think he was kind of struggling with the tyre management in comparison to some other drivers. I don't know if Hyper is joining. Um, why is Fran trying to get in again? Anyway, we'll give our congratulations to... Oh, don't close. We'll give our congratulations to Hyper on P2, and then we'll give our congratulations to Rian as well on P1. 15 race wins he's now got in the league. Absolutely incredible to achieve that number, and especially that he's come back into the league after such a long time of being away from the league, and he's just come in then won three races from 4. Like, it's insane. I need to edit this actually. That puts that win for Racing Bulls puts them level. Oh my god, it didn't do it. Racing Bulls X13. I'm so close to deleting this game. Okay, so it doesn't look like... I don't see anyone in the waiting room, so I think we can wrap it up. Anyway, guys, that has been it for... that has been it for round number 4 here in China. Obviously, I hope you enjoyed the race. Rian C11, your Grand Prix winner. Hyper P2, just coming up short, but having a fantastic qualifying. But it does just show you guys that anything can happen in the race. Your qualifying pace doesn't exactly mean you could win. And a very entertaining battle between Hyper and Rian and HB Cook as well, just holding on to it as much as he tried to. But yeah, what a race. We are back for Kota next week, round number 5 in Texas, and then we head to round number 6 in Belgium for our second sprint of the season. So a lot more still to come this season, as you can see on your screens here. If I close F1, you can see what is still to come this URC season. We have Austin next week, ahead of then Belgium in round number 6. Then heading over to the second half of the season, we still have Mexico to come, Azerbaijan, which will be our third sprint, and then we head across to Monza, and then Brazil, over to Saudi Arabia then, which will be our final sprint of the season, and then potentially a title decider in Abu Dhabi on the 4th of June. So still a lot of URC action to come in the season, but there's also more racing action with our partner leagues, Formula Aero and Velocity Racing Series. Of course, Formula Aero racing on Monday and Velocity Racing Series racing on Tuesday. Their finale is actually coming up soon enough as well, and it's between Quiet Boy and Notjack. I think the Drivers' Championship is still to be settled. The Constructors was won there recently by Williams. So a lot of racing still to come with our partner leagues before you join us back here on Thursday for the United States Grand Prix. Good night. My name is Rich Shamrock. Good night.